So first thing we're going to do here is we're going to create your post for this part. This is our simple little practice part that we created the other day, last time. And now we're going to create this as a post. And which is the post is what the 3D router table takes. It's the code that's generated to actually cut this out on the router table. This hole, I'm going to have you do one small modification to this. This hole that we created, it's the small hole of the two, it's a 1/4 inch diameter. I want to have you change that down to a 0.13 diameter. So go and hover over your holes and notice which hole it is. It's that one. Double click on it. And once you change the diameter of that to 0.13 and go OK. So there we have that hole now. It's a smaller hole. It's just going to be a little bit different process we do for it later, and I think it's going to make things look better. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to create the cam of this. So we're going to go here to the cam tab. So click on cam, and that should change it to where you're on this cam tab up here on the top also. If it doesn't, you need to click on the cam tab here on the top. The first thing we need to do is we need to set this part up. So we're going to click on where it says setup here. When you click on setup, it puts this imaginary yellow box here around the part. What I want to do is I want to make the bottom left corner of the object my origin. So right now here's my X, Y, and Z origin. I want to make it on this corner here, and it's on the top surface. So I'm going to click on this top black dot right there, and that's what I want there. But now, however, I want my X to be the side-to-side measurement, my Y to be the up and down measurement, and my Z to be coming straight out of that top surface. To do that, I'm going to click on the shaft of the Z coordinate here, so right there, I click on that shaft, and then just go over to my part and click a vertical line somewhere on that part. So I want my Z to line up with that, and click, and that worked really nicely and put me in there perfectly. Now, sometimes it does not do that. Sometimes your X might be pointing in the wrong direction, your Y might be pointing in the wrong direction, or even your Z might be pointing in the wrong direction. If that is the case, you can come over to here, and you can actually change it around. So, for example, X-axis, I wanted to flip my X-axis, I click that button, it flips it to where my X-axis is going opposite way. Doing that also flips my Y, and it changes that around. So you can do that. If you want to change something else, you can click on this down arrow, and you can change the X-Y axis, and it moves it over to that corner. Now I'm kind of moving things around all over the place, kind of messing stuff up. So I want to go back, and I want to pick my stock point. Now that I'm moving around, I want to click stock point. I want to go back to this corner for my stock point. And again, I want to make my Z, so I click on my Z. Whoops, click on the shaft Z there. There you go. I got it going the right way now, but I do want to flip my X back in the right direction. So now my X again is side to side, Y is way up and down, my Z is coming out on my top surface. That's great. This thing is set up. I'm going to go OK and accept that. Now what I want to do is I want to start doing some of the actual contours of this part. When you're doing this, you want to cut first your holes out in the middle of the object. Then you want to cut the contour around the outside of the object. I actually have you do this as two different operations here for the holes. If they were both, small holes or both large holes, you can do all this in one operation. You wouldn't have to do it separate. But these are two different types of holes, so I wanted to show you two different ways of doing this. So first we're going to go to this section that says 2D milling. Here are the three most common ones you use. And actually, I shouldn't say most common because we really don't use adaptive at all. But the 2D pocket and the 2D contour are two that are up here. What I want to do is I want to go to my 2D down, click my down arrow. And this first one, I'm going to do a bore. So I select bore. And what I want to bore is I want to bore this hole. So I'm going to go around and click on that hole. And select that hole to bore. Now, however, it didn't pick the tool to use for this bore. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here to my tools. That's this first tab here. If you hover over it says tools. And I want to pick my tool. I'm going to go to the tools button here. And in this list, I want to search for my right tool. I'm going to use an 1/8 inch cutter for this. So I'm going to type 1/8. And I'm going to search them by type. Over here, so you can come by type. And it lists all the 1/8 inch cutters that are listed in the machine. I'm going to use an 1/8 inch flat end mill, which is right there. There's a bunch of different 1/8 inch flat end mills listed. If we scroll over to this end, it gives us some more information. 1/8 inch flat end mill for aluminum, for brass, for copper, gives you a spindle speed, a cutting speed, and it says it's for plastic. That's kind of the default. It sets a lot of little numbers in there. We will change those numbers here in a little bit, but at least it gets some of the numbers right. So we're going to go select and select that. So what that does is it sets your spindle speed to 10,000 RPM. We're actually going to crank that up a little bit. We're going to go to 15,000 RPM. Cutting feed rate, it has it at 62. We're going to actually go up a little bit from that. We're going to go to 80. It's just going to make it cut your part out a little bit faster, and it'll make you finish up your cuts earlier. All the rest of these numbers, we're going to just go ahead and leave the same, and we're going to go OK. All right, so that's my first one set up as the bore. Now I'm going to do my larger hole, and for that, I'm going to come up here to my 2D milling. Actually, I'm not. I'm going to use a pocket. I want that half-inch hole. Pocket. I'm going to go to pocket. Now, pocket does a little bit different thing. You can see here by the picture. Pocket is also one that you use if you're not cutting all the way through something, like on this part that's shown, and you're just pocketing out that part. You want to remove everything. Here, I'm going to go ahead and use the pocket because I don't want this this loose piece in here flopping around in there. It's a good way it can break our bits if we have that loose piece flopping around in there. So I'm not going to use anything else besides pocket. If your hole gets a little bit too large, it will take forever using a pocket command. So I have a little chart I'll show you in just a moment. That way we're going to go pocket. We're going to pick that object as my pocket. We're going to go ahead and look here, see what tool we have selected. It typically keeps the last tool you used in there, so that's good. So we're just going to go OK. And it generates all that. Here it shows you the preview what it's doing. It spirals down the bottom of the cut, and then it cuts this out of the spiral and removes everything. Alright. Okay. So now that we have this done, we have our hole out there, and our small hole with the bore command. We have our larger hole with the 2D pocket. Now we're ready to do the outside of this. So to do that, we're going to use our 2D contour. We're going to come down here. We're going to pick this outside bottom edge of this thing, and it puts a path all the way around this. Now, with this, we don't want to cut this thing and have this thing just come loose and flop there in it, so we have to do something called tabs on it. So we're going to come over here to our tabs option, and notice it just automatically put tabs around this thing. It put one tab here on the bottom of this, 2 tabs over here. That's where I put the tabs. You can actually pick places to put those tabs on. But right now, let me see, tabs, it's set by distance, it sets 1 inch. You can increase this, like we have a 2-inch part there, so we increase it to 2 inches. It only puts a tab on the 2-inch side. We can go down here to 1.5, and there it puts 1 tab on each side. This side must be less than 1.5, so we put one there. So you can kind of play with that, and it places your tab there. Put 1.25, it put a tab on each side, which, which would be nice, but putting a tab down on the bottom of this circle, it's not great. Because putting the tab down there, it's going to be really hard to remove that tab out of there and smooth that off. So there's another way we can do tabs, and it is, let me see, if you have by distance right here, we put it at points. So there, we can just select some points to put tabs on. There, and there, maybe a tab there, one tab over here, and maybe one tab along this side. And you got all your sides tabbed. Here, again, these will be much easier to clean up and get off there. We can sand it on our sander and get those off very easily. Down at the bottom of this contour, a tab would be tough to remove there. Okay, so one more little thing we should do here, where it gives the height and the width of the tab. The height of the tab, we're going to set the height of the tab a little bit thicker. It's 0.03, that's a 32nd inch, that's pretty minimal. If your material will flex up and down at all, your tab really is not going to hold this. We're going to set our tab to 0.06, which is a 16th of an inch approximately. And the width, we're going to go our tab to 1/4 inch wide. So that puts a pretty beefy tab on there, but that should be enough to hold that in place as long as our piece really flex up off the table a bunch. Okay, so that's it on that part of it. There's one more part that we have here to look at, and that is here on the passes tab. So we're going to go over to it. On this, multiple passes or multiple depths down here is one of your options. The thing with multiple depths is if you're cutting thicker material, you have to do multiple depths, and it shows you here in that little picture here at the bottom. For plastic, which you're going to be doing here shortly, if your plastic is 1/8 of an inch thick or less, one pass is fine. If you're over 1/8 of an inch, we really kind of like to take 2 passes. Our cutters will cut it in one pass, no problem, but it tends to sometimes kind of gum up your trail, your path that the router bit cuts through. It tends to gum that up some, so we like to do multiple depths. So here's the point where you ask me for, well, what's the thickness of our material we're going to cut? For a little practice thing we're going to be doing here, I have a few different thicknesses, and I'll just give you one of those thicknesses for you to measure with a caliper, and then you set your object, your thing to that thickness. So right now, let's say we measured our piece, and our piece measured 0.25 inches thick. So for that, we're going to go to multiple depths. The maximum roughing step down, that's our cut. We're going to set that to 0.125, 1/8 inch thick, and we're going to go OK. And we're going to say OK all of our stuff here. Let's see what we got. All right, that looks pretty good. So let's give me 2 passes on that, on this one. And because my material here was, I think we said it was 0.13 thick, and that looks pretty good. Now, the thing you're going to have to do here with this is, remember we set this to 0.13, so we're going to have to go back to our model tab up here at the top, and your extrusion, double click on it, and you're going to need to set this to exactly what you measured your stock to. So if you measure your stock to 0.251 inches, that's what you're going to set your material to there. You're going to go OK. And now when you go back to your CAM tab, you're going to have to update this. Notice all 3 of these have X's on them now. You're going to have to regenerate your commands here. So if you click on generate, you generated that one. I guess that's the one I selected on. You should have all of these selected here. Regenerate all of these, it'll regenerate all of them. So now all those things are regenerated to our new thickness of our material. We have 2 passes going down here, passes going down there. Actually, it does 1 final pass, so it actually can do 3 passes. And that's really looking pretty good. We do want to simulate this to see what it looks like, so I'm going to click on simulate. And we're going to play. And when that goes through that, I'm going to kind of go through this a little faster. That gets all those. Oh, and one thing I just noticed is I've selected just on the contour, so it only simulated the contour. I want to simulate it all. So I'm going to go back up here and press simulate again. Now all my steps are in there. So there's that one, pulls that one down, spirals down all the way to that one, then it comes out in the circle, and then here's going to be my outside passes on the outside, leaving my tabs on there also. So that simulation looks good, and that should be good to go. Alright, so now, this part is all done. We have all of our different operations done on here. They're all looking great. We want to make sure, again, we're selected at the top, so we get all of these exported. And we're going to do our post-process. We're going to come up here and click on post-process. It comes to here. Now on this, we need to pick our correct post for this. It's located in this location. It's the P drive, O1W, Student Docs CAD3 folder. So you're going to do that. And then here, we're going to pick our correct post. We're going to click on this down arrow. We're actually going to use the Techno CNC Router SS. That's what we're doing. So we're going to click on it for our post processor, and we're going to click on just post. Here is where we're going to save it to. We're going to save it to a flash drive, so make sure you have a flash drive, and we're going to save it right there. Everybody's going to get a number, so you'll ask me for a number. Everybody's going to be something 25 or 26. It has to be a 4-digit number you save it to. So this first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to save it. I'm just going to start with number 25. Actually, I'm going to start with my number. My number is 89. 89 and 00. You're going to save yours as 25, 00, so on and so forth.